The Joe Rogan Experience.
Speaking of Native American, you see that Choctaw kid? The Chiefs?
The Kansas City Chiefs kids?
I love that.
That was crazy.
That was great.
Crazy.
That was
What was the newspaper that
They caught him from the side.
They tried. They totally fucking hosed him.
Yeah.
Totally hosed him. They
He's
said he was
suing.
in blackface, and they showed a picture of one side of his face.
Yeah.
He was wearing war paint,
Boy, was
and
his
he's
face
Native
red.
American.
I love that. Oh,
And it was just a Chiefs game where it's like
it's also to get racially sensitive at a fucking Kansas City Chiefs game. You're at the wrong place.
Also-
an
Yeah.
entire stadium of white people's going.
Right.
You're gonna pick the one kid.
I know.
it's
Like,
so
no.
crazy to put up a kid's picture
Oh,
of a
yeah.
child and get it wrong.
Not just get it wrong, get it wrong and know you're getting it wrong.
And then he doubled down when he was wrong. He was
Oh
like,
my
well,
God,
that's
look
fatal
at this.
too.
On Monday, the left-wing publication Deadspin alleged that the football fan identify as Holden Armenta
fully named
found
him.
a way to hate black people and the Native Americans at the same time.
That's not easy.
Imagine that.
Why is it hate, though? Why do we
Exactly.
go right to hate? That's
Why
the
is it
bummer.
Look at that hateful motherfucker.
He's a sweet
What a
kid.
hate monger. He probably loves pizza.
So, what is his background?
I have some if you need
he
it.
has some Native American background.
Oh, he owns a
His
casino.
background is he loves football like a real American.
True.
Yeah, he's part Native American.
So it says his child's father's the son of Raul Armenta, a business committee member of the Santa Ynez Board of
Oh,
Chumash
damn.
Indians. Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
He's deep. He's a real Native American.
It's so funny. They're like, you must be hateful. It's like, wait, can't I just be Native American?
So this fucking kid is literally dressing like his ancestors.
Wow.
And they're calling it, he's hating black people. And, bro, they're getting paid for this one.
Yeah.
Ooh-wee, Indian giver.
I would love to see these publications, how many positive...
Indian giver didn't sneak by me. I was just lighting my cigar. That was a good one.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
We are, as a culture, being manipulated. We're being manipulated. And it's moving us further and further away from just sanity, just pure sanity.
It's the foundations of Western logic, right? It's they're trying to poison the roots of Western logic by completely rewriting what we would call the history of the world and the progression around physics and math, and you name the thing that's under assault. It's under assault today. And I think who benefits from that? You just have to look around and say, who benefits from that? Oh, our foes. That's who benefits from this. And not much has changed. If you think, 2,500 years ago, we'll say Socrates was put to death for corrupting the youth, I think is what it was. And I'm like trying to recall it, but he was out there on the street arguing and debating with people, talking about ideas, and the Athenians were like, we got to get rid of this guy. He's like, he's pressure testing what we're doing. Like, we got to put this dude down. And I think, well, that was 2,500 years ago. So anytime the state deems information as a threat, we should probably be looking at that information and then really trying to like have an open discussion about it. That's the beauty of America, like freedom of speech.
Yes, it is the beauty of America. But it's also why they're trying to crack down on the internet.
Right.
The internet has been the biggest force in not just relaying this propaganda, but also fighting against propaganda and letting people realize, like, hey, like these people that are supposed to be your leaders, they're compromised and they're fucking you. And there's some things that they're doing now that they're just doing. And like, what is the economic consequence of the hundreds of billions of dollars that are being spent on these wars that we're not interested in?
What are the economic consequences? Where are the actual legal consequences for? I mean, here's an easy one, which is we invaded a country of Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction, and they're so-called. It didn't exist.
Yeah,
not one person went to jail. We spent more time trying to connect this fiction around Russian collusion for 2 years than we did investigating why there was a massive information operation internally to the United States that said there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Not one person went to jail. Not one person stepped in front of Congress and had depositions around why did you say that there was weapons of mass destruction when there wasn't? Not one person. But we spent how many trillions of dollars on this war?
And how many people died?
Yeah,
How many innocent Iraqis died?
Well, I mean, these are hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, my peer group alone, just thousands of people that are physically and mentally altered forever. That spent, you could say, the best years of our life in a war under false pretenses, and now the long-term effects are coming back, and also the government doesn't want to pay for that bill as well. So,
yeah, they were trying to deny Gulf War syndrome. Remember that? When they were using depleted uranium rounds? So these people were all getting radiation poisoning, and their children were born deformed, and they were having these massive problems, and they were trying to deny it because they didn't want to pay for it.
They don't want to pay for it. They don't want to write the check. They do when it directly benefits what I would say is the military-industrial complex and these wars of occupation. I don't want to make it sound like I'm anti. I think there's a difference between a war of necessity that maintains national sovereignty and a long-term war of choice for occupation. That's a war of choice in occupation is an exercise in transference of wealth from the taxpayer into the military-industrial complex, and that's like firsthand experience spending 2003 to 2009 in Iraq. I mean, that's a lot of time. 4.5 years on the ground, and then another 3 years in Afghanistan. Just seeing the expense from blood and treasure alone over the course of 10 years of deployments, and understanding what the difference is between precision tracking and then killing terrorists and what we needed to do in order to stabilize a region, and then long-term massive wars of occupation. There's a very distinct difference.
Yeah, I think that's very important to bring up. And it's also very important to bring up that you have to have military power because other countries have it. And people who don't think that you should support the military, there's people that think all military is evil. Listen, if we didn't have it, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? Like, what do you think the whole world would lay down their arms if we did? Do you think that's what would happen? We have to live in reality. And the reality of this world, and you know it better than anybody, this world is a fucking messy place.